Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Mark Bishop show. Beaut to have you. It's been a little while. And, I'm excited to be back. Interesting guests coming up in the future. I'll trust that you'll enjoy these different interviews of people we're going to meet, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, business leaders, all sorts, doing some good in our community. And I'd really appreciate if you the thing that you hear everybody say, like the thing and follow us and what have you, because the more we can get, the better it can get. And the better rankings you've got, the better people I can get, because they're really not interested in getting on a nobody. Says he with at least a couple of 100,000 followers, but you wouldn't think so. Here's the deal. Entrepreneurs are the backbone of American business, and babyboomer.org pulls together news and resources for the baby boomer community. And hi to you guys. Salt of the earth we are. Any idea just how large, in fact, this community is? Have a guess. Well, he's also author of the children's book, I Don't Want to Turn 3, and the business book, The Secrets of Retailing, How to Beat Walmart. He's written, over 100 articles, all about small businesses, education, the homeless, and several other non-profit topics clear to all of us. And my special guest is the co-founder, the CEO of babyboomer.org, Marc Joseph, alias, and he loves this, Gramps Jeffrey. That's what he likes to be called, Gramps Jeffrey. I don't know why, for the life of me. G'day, buddy. How are you?
Great. I appreciate you inviting me. And I heard your question. You said, how big is the baby boomer population? Well, 76 million baby boomers here in the U.S. Now, there were 76 million of us that were born baby boomers. 11 million of us have died, but we've been replaced by 11 million of people who've moved into the country that are our age. So we still have 76 million baby boomers. Now, you take on top of that, there are still 12 million businesses owned by baby boomers. So you can just see the influence of this generation continue.
Wow. 12 million businesses owned by baby boomers. I know small businesses are huge, salt of the earth and the backbone of the country, but I didn't realize there were that many businesses in relation to baby boomers, And these are the latest stats you're sharing too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you think about that, 12 million businesses. Now, as the baby boomer generation grows older, they're going to have to do something with those 12 million businesses.
Right.
Are they going to pass them on to their kids? Many of our kids don't want the businesses. Are they going to sell them? Are they going to close them? So this is an interesting thing that, America is going to be dealing with over the next 10 years or so. What's going to happen with these 12 million businesses that are owned by baby boomers?
Well, there could be lots of debates around the Christmas lunch table or dinner table or Thanksgiving table or whatever. But, Dad, I'm just not interested in taking it over. Don't you understand? I've got a different thing about me. I want to go a different way. Listen, we're going to get to all of that, but I want to talk about you a little bit, okay? Because you've had an incredible history, and that's why you're on the show. Most of your working life, it was spent in retailing, wholesaling, and the internet. Most of your working life, starting out with your career in the department store industry. And that was Macy's as a buyer, right? And merchandise manager and store manager. I mean, what led you into that particular world, out of school, college, what? What led you to retailing?
Well, let's go back in history now. Us baby boomers, we grew up in the 70s. 70s was when department store businesses really took off. And so I was in school up in Ohio. It was a winter, big bad winter. I caught 5 colds that week and that year. And I was being recruited by a company out of Miami, Florida called Burdines. And they were recruiting on my campus and says, I'm going south. I got to get out of this cold. So that's how I got involved in the department store business. And Burdines, anyone in the Florida area knows exactly who Burdines are. They were the dominant department store there. They're now part of Macy's. Macy's has bought up most of these different department stores. Right. But that's how I got involved. It was the hot thing going, as the baby boomers remember, in the 70s and 80s. Everybody was going to the malls. Everybody was doing department stores. And so I had the opportunity to grow and become part of the department store business.
Well, you did exceptionally well. You ended up taking 240 stores in a move to the discount store business to 551 stores and another dollar chain store from 49 stores to way up there, 441 stores. These are all across America, I gather.
Yes, in other words, the reason I got out of the department store business into the discount store business was because that was what's trending. Retailing evolves. And as department stores were growing, that's when the discount store business was going. So I had a chance to get involved with the discount chain in small town America. And I also had a chance to get involved to build one of the first dollar stores. It was called Everything's a Dollar Store. And we had 49 stores and we grew it to 441 stores. We were in all the major malls versus where Dollar Tree was more in the neighborhoods. So that was my involvement, getting involved, because I saw that the chance of the department store businesses were revolving into the discount store business. And look at how we are today. Look at the dominance of discount stores here in America.
My word, my word. It's almost like you could see into the future a little, huh? So what do you think your secret was then, Mark? I mean, to go from retail to discount, you obviously, was there something in retail that was telling you, other than the fact you could see it for yourself? Was there something else happening in the game?
Whenever you're in business, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a retailer, you got to take a look at the customers. You got to put yourself into the customer's shoes. That's how you predict what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to see that the customers were starting to get into the discount store business. That's when, Costco came about. And that's when all of the other chains came about, the ones that are dominant today. And so that's what led me to change my career and go into discount rather than department stores.
Well, that was another challenge. Knock that on the head. That was done and dusted, as they say. You then became a supplier and built a B2B internet company. And this I can appreciate. You started it in your bedroom. Then you went public with the thing. Tell us about that one.
Well, don't forget, all of us who are baby boomers today, most of us didn't get on the internet until we were 40 years old. Which sounds like a long time ago. This is 30 years ago.
I'm still learning. He's still learning. Very frustrating for a lot of us, isn't it? Eh?
Absolutely. And so, I was able to see that I felt that the internet was going to be the next big thing back in the 90s. And so I was able to pull together all of the suppliers that I've been working for years. And we were able to start to sell products in bulk through the internet. Our customer base were the moms and the pops that were competing against the chains. And we could see, if you're a mom and pop store, you have a whole different kind of distribution than if you're a chain store. If you're a chain store, a department store, discount store, you have buying teams. You go overseas, you buy from major manufacturers. But if you're a mom and pop store, you don't have those resources to be going all over the world to find goods. So that's how DollarDays.com started, is we became the source for all these mom and pop stores where they could buy things by the case so that they compete against the big guys in their neighborhoods.
Right.
And that's how that company started. And again, started with bootstraps, with connections, and then finally we took it public.
I bet you had a little bit of luck on that side there, because surely even in the retail game and in the discount game, you would have been introduced to computers, early computers at that stage. You might have had some sort of understanding or playing around with them, a feeling that you could do something on it, even from your bedroom, if you know what I mean.
Yes, much easier today than it was 25 years ago.
Well, by the way, why are you known as Gramps?
Well, my children's book, it's called I Don't Want to Turn 3. It's a true story about my 6 grandkids.
All right.
And so I decided that I wanted to, they call me Gramps. And the reason that they call me Gramps is because it's pretty easy to say. I found out very early on all 6 of them that they could do Gramps before a lot of other words. So I figured, I'll be Gramps. And my middle name is Jeffrey, Jeffrey. And the reason that I put it on the book is my wife, who we've been married forever, always spelled it the wrong way. She spelled it the other way. So I figured that if I put it on a book, she'll finally learn how to spell my middle name. And so that's why I'm Gramps Jeffrey. And yes, she does know how to spell it today.
Lovely. Well, I've got that font up there. Look, I don't want to turn 3. That's cute. Couple of boys in the bath, right?
That's
Now,
it.
who do they represent? The grandkids.
Yeah, this is a true story of my grandkids. There happens to be 2 of my grandsons in the bath. What happened for all the pictures in the book, they're based on pictures that I took. So when you go in, then I had an artist go in and make it into a kind of a fun thing. But, you kind of figure, why did I write this book? This is a children's book.
One of my...
A lot of it came right out of, a lot of this came out of the COVID area. I was able to have all 6 of my grandkids here for about 6 weeks during COVID when everything was shut down. So I had a chance to really interact with them and be with them. And so I figured this is a great story because this is a true story. The book is a true story.
Yeah.
All 6 of these kids have completely different personalities, but the one thing that they have in common is a sense of curiosity. How excited they got when they accomplished something. When, watching them grow year to year and how they interact with each other really is the basis for this book. And so what goes through a parent's mind and a children's mind is very desperate to understand. When does a toddler understand the difference really between me and us? So this book explores how my family found all that out together.
Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. Well, I have another show, of course, called Nothing Like a Good Book, and that is for authors across America. We're up to 100 now. And I might get you on that one when we talk about the books in depth, because you did write another one, and I want to talk about that as well, which is this one here, The Secrets of... This had to come out, didn't it, with all your experience? I mean, there's a lot of good learning in this book. Are you proud of it?
Well, the reason I wrote this book is when our internet company was up and running, and which it still is, and had all these small businesses. I'm getting these like 30 phone calls a week. How do you do this? What do you do here? So The Secrets of Retailing is a 15-chapter book, and each chapter is devoted to another thing that an entrepreneur needs to do to get ahead. So, for instance, there's one chapter on how do you find your products, another chapter on what do you do to find a location, another chapter on the marketing, both regular marketing and internet and those kinds of marketing. And the final chapter is exit strategy. What do you do when it's time that's over? And so that's why I wrote this book, is a step-by-step guide for small entrepreneurs to kind of have a roadmap to maybe do better than I did in things that I learned from.
Did you did you get any pushback on how to beat Walmart?
Interestingly enough, the only company that would not sell the book was Walmart.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Welcome to America. Hey, listen, by the way, they can all be bought on Amazon, right?
Yeah, you can buy either book on Amazon.
Where else, Well, you're the co-founder, this is now, of the new site babyboomer.org, which pulls together news and resources for the baby boomer community, which we know the one thing the baby boomers have in common. That's all of us, connected and shared experience. There's a lot of them, but name a few of them for me, Mark. What do we have in common?
Well, this generation is as diverse as any generation before or after us.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about how divided we are in politics, the diversity of where we are, the religious division we have. This is a very diverse division, the generation. But the one thing that baby boomers do have in common is a shared, connected experience. When you think about it, when we were growing up, we all had landlines. That's how we communicated. We had 3 television stations at the most if you're in a big city. That's how we learned things. Yeah. So we had all those, we have this shared connection that our information came from the same sources. Right. That we lived through things. I mean, we lived through the Kennedy's assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination. We were there for the landing on the moon. Birth control became widespread during our generation.
All the big Vietnam. All the big stuff, huh?
Vietnam, Kent State. These were things we had to do. We had riots in the streets. But the one thing that we all have in common, and that's why all these radio stations are so popular still, is the music. I mean, think about it. we all had Elvis and the Beach Boys and the
Yeah,
Beatles.
that's
Right.
yeah, gold flashbacks, Sirius XM, their one. I listen to that in the car. NPR mainly for interviews and so on. But yeah, it's our era of those records never seem to get tiresome, do they?
Yeah,
The music.
listen to the Association of the Supremes. And we had all these movies. Think about all the movies we had that brought us together. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid,
Right.
Jaws, pretty much any of the Spielberg movies.
All that stuff. Now,
Animal
a
House.
lot of other interesting stuff. There's interesting travel amongst boomers. Okay. Grandparenting, of course. I don't think I've met anybody that doesn't miss their grandkids. You know that? It's amazing. Healthy eating, all of a sudden. Finance, of course. Retirement. Then there's caregiving, healthcare. Unfortunately, dementia. Hopefully this will be cured one day. Alzheimer's. That's another one. And Parkinson's. Fitness, pickleball, volunteering. Interesting thing about pickleball, everybody's gone nuts about it, Mark. Everybody's raving about it. And have a guess what the number one, because I interviewed, God, I'm getting old. I forget her name, but she's the top of the government scenario health-wise the other day. The thing is this, have a guess what is the worst sport right now for accidents and for injuries.
Oh, it's got to be pickleball. All us old guys are falling down.
It's pickleball.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I'm an ex-tennis player, right? I play golf now when I can, when the shoulder's right and the legs are right and the toes are right. And I don't have the arthritis in the damn thumb. But, I don't know, volunteering is a big thing with baby boomers, thank God, because without volunteers, mate, a lot of the beautiful services and non-profits, quite frankly, they wouldn't, be able to get off the ground. Giving back and the legacy. What legacy do you want to leave? Because everybody's talking misery of the way we're going. Who wants to leave anything to your grandkids the way it is?
Well, when you think about what is your legacy, is you can't, no matter how rich you are, you can't take it with you. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. Mm-hmm. It comes back to what are you going to leave behind? What are your grandkids going to remember who you are? And so we, at this point in our life, and we had on babyboomer.org, we have a huge area of our site for legacy. How are you going to leave your legacy? Are you going to do what you just talked about, volunteering? Are you going to help others? I happen to be a substitute teacher because there's a shortage of teachers in our area. And so I said, well, the best thing I can do. So I happen to be a substitute teacher at the local middle school and high school. But that's just something that I do. There are other things that everyone can do to help their communities. And that's what we got to think about. How are you going to be remembered when you're gone? They may remember you. They're not going to remember you for the money. They're going to remember you for what else? What impression? What have you left to your kids?
Right.
And so that's something that we all have to decide what we're going to do.
Well, you've left some books. I Don't Want to Turn 3, and the business book, The Secrets of Retailing. How to Beat Walmart. Your lovely wife, Kathy, you've been together how long now?
Oh, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have asked that. You live in Scottsdale in Arizona and just up the road a piece where your grandchildren live, and 2 more live in Austin, Texas, and 2 in Orlando, Florida. So they visit a lot, or you visit? Which one?
Well, it's interesting that you talk about that because one of the reasons we started babyboomer.org is because I found out as I was touring on my book and talking to people that were reading it and to others, and that 30%, that's 1 out of every 3 of grandparents are not involved in the raising of their kids. Think about that. That's if you were sitting in a room, 1 out of every 3 of us just aren't involved. Now, we as grandparents may say, hey, I love my grandkids. I'll show up for their birthday party. Maybe I'll come to a holiday event. But I'd rather go play pickleball. So, we've got 1/3 of us that are not involved. And that's one of the reasons that we started babyboomer.org.
Right.
We've got to have a place so we can get our generation to get more involved. Because going back to the legacy that we were talking about earlier, what are we going to teach this next generation coming up? What are they going to do?
Exactly. So, the question I was going to ask was, why do you think grandparents need to be involved in raising, this newest generation. So you've touched on that. But when it comes to books and what you wrote, because they don't read today, they even cross the roads looking at their phone this far away with a text. I dread the day it was ever invented, the iPhone, whatever it is, and social media. But there you go. There's a lot of benefits, I know. What are the benefits, though, of reading to children?
Well, think about this. And this is, and for those grandparents that are close to their grandkids and can do this every once in a while, there's all kinds of benefits. So one of the benefits of reading to children is it's a nice way to spend time together and bonding. Now, think about it. Most of these kids' books take less than 20 minutes to read. I mean, mine does. So here you are sitting with a kid on your lap, and it gives you a chance to bond with these kids. So that's one of the reasons why we as grandparents and parents should be reading to our kids all the time. Another reason that we all need to be reading to our kids every night, if you can get into the habit, is it supports listening skills. Now, you and I both know as we've grown older that listening skills is the number one skill that we have. I mean, you have to have great listening skills as you're interviewing all these people. I have to have great listening skills as I'm trying to figure out the customer base and what they want and where we should take them. Mm-hmm. So what gives it a chance when you sit a kid on your lap and there's only the two of you and you're sitting there reading, it requires them to listen. This is a skill that once they get it when they're young, it's going to pay off for them when they're older like us. Another reason that we should be reading books to our kids is it helps with the cognitive and language development. Think about it. As the kids are sitting, they're reading a book, they may have, they ask, what does that word mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, there are plenty of words that I see in books I don't understand. I got to go look them up.
Well, let's face it, between the school and allowed calculators and next minute AI, writing your thesis or writing your, I used to love it at school. I flunked in maths, but I topped the class in writing great stories, but I had to handwrite them, right? Didn't even have a typewriter. But it's focus and doing and learning, isn't it, at the same time? How do we develop the habit of book reading for kids today? How do we do it?
First of all, you got to be the role model. Okay, you as an adult, step back and think about this. Kids reflect what their parents do. They reflect what their grandparents do. If you're on your phone all day, kids are going to be on their phone all day. Yeah. If you're not outside exercising, kids aren't going to be outside exercising. If you're watching TV all night, that's what kids are going to do. You are the role model. Never lose sight that the parents, no matter how busy their life is, how tough their life is, the kids reflect and they see exactly what you do. And if you think about it as an adult, we reflect what we saw with our parents. Mm-hmm. So we've got to be able to get into to get a habit of you're the role model, set the example, get the books read every night. You got to have a routine, a better reading routine every night.
Routine, very well said.
Special spaces to do this.
That takes discipline, doesn't it? Takes a little bit of discipline.
Well, the discipline is you've got to be able to limit your kids' screen time.
Yeah.
Now, I got to tell you, this generation of kids, these kids that are 0 to 10 years old now, are going to be the greatest generation that this country has ever raised. I mean, when you think about it, as soon as they come out of the womb, they've got their cell phone. They're on the internet. We didn't have that until we were 40 years old. So they are so much more advanced than we are. They learn so much. They get the information so much faster. It's our job as parents and grandparents is to balance that. Get them outside to play, kick the ball, throw the ball, run. That's what we have to do. And that's the influences that our generation needs to have on these kids, because otherwise they're going to be behind their screens the rest of their lives, and they're going to lose the social skills that are so necessary in today's world.
And one of the biggest responsible people for those are the game players. They say, well, look, we just make them, if you can't get your kid outside, that's your fault. Listen, the reality is they're so enticing, but they're so real and so deadly, these games. I did play one or two with my son growing up, but at the end of the day, it was outside too. You know what I mean? Go play some footy, get outside, do stuff, do fresh air stuff. You need that. The body needs that. And you're right about that. Absolutely right.
Oh, you're talking about these game players. I mean, they give these kids rewards. So, as you're playing these games, you're stuck in there. And these
Yep.
kids can be stuck in there for 2-3 hours.
Man, I could go for an hours with you. Look at that. We've already gone 25. Look, here's the deal. Babyboomer.org. All right. I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about also this one here. I want to bring up how to contact you. For anybody that's watching this, babyboomer.org is going to give me what? All right. Because I'm a member too, but I'm coming from a viewer's point of view. Why is it so good that you've created this thing with the millions of followers you've already got so quickly? What do you think it's doing? Is it about all being under one roof together, easy to find, a place to go? Are all the things being met that why you created this? By the way, you've never mentioned who your co-creator. So who is your partner?
Oh, there's 4 of us. And,
there are 4. Okay.
Yeah, 4 of us all put this together.
All right.
Because we all saw the same thing. It was driven by grandparents not being involved with their kids.
Right.
And grandkids. So that's what helped drive it. And then the other thing that drove us was information. How do we get great information all in one place?
Right.
So what we did is we have contacted and we have on our site 826 different experts in different areas of what we need to know. So we have 826 different people contributing podcasts, like your great podcasts or articles or blogs to help inform our generation, and all the topics that you talked about. I mean, whether it's finance or retirement or pickleball or health or Alzheimer's, we've got the experts in all those fields. We have 516 different topic departments. So any kind of a topic that you're thinking about, we've got it. I mean, we talked about exit strategy for the 12 million entrepreneurs over there. We've got a whole exit strategy topic.
Yeah.
We got we have 200,000 pages. So we got 172,000 different episodes of podcasts on the site. Our site changes. It's a brand new site every day. Reason being is the latest information from all of our contributors and experts go up on the site, and it changes every day.
Right.
So that's why we wrote this site.
Ever growing, isn't it? The thing never. It's an ongoing, growing, total machine, as they say. You know what I mean? Babyboomer.org. You could go on the thing, or on your laptop, or on your iPad, in the comfort of the lounge room, wherever you want to be during the day. I mean, here it's Arizona, it's blue skies, it's 85 at the moment, beautiful. But I guess back east, it might be, the leaves are falling and it might be raining and cold or a little, whatever, the fire's on. It's like a book. You can go to the site and you'll find just about everything you want to find, from education, interesting answers, because there's so much in the way of health today that, you don't know who to believe. I got to tell you one thing, Mark. I'm going to share with you why I joined. I'm going to be very honest with you. All right. I am involved in interviewing people, and Nothing Like a Good Book is another show that I do. But there's a show I'm trying to get off the ground. I just need a sponsor for it. And it's called scamalert.tv, because I am so disgusted with the scams going on in this country. Business people, grandparents, elderly people, even young, okay? 902 scams a day are being carried out in America on people, causing shocking distrust amongst society, amongst all the other issues we've got at the moment. That's enough. And then on top of that, $900 million goes out of this country last year over to the scammers. So, Trump, you claim yourself for being brilliant for this, but you've never done anything about that. Now, babyboomer.org, I trust, because that's what I'm trying to get at with this. And that's why I'm excited to have you on the show. All right?
Great. Well, I appreciate you inviting me.
I really believe that, because you work very hard at getting the right people to do the right thing, for the right way, for the right answers. And, you make it wholesome, something that people can trust and go to and not have to worry if the phone's going to ring or someone's on your door or who else is trying to get into you, the texting business It's unbelievable. It gets very frustrating. And I'm just a small business guy. I'm a battler, one-man army. And it gets very, very hard. So you've written over 100 articles, all about business, education, the homeless. I won't go into that. That's another show, another day. Baby boomers, what do you, at the end of the day, what can they really teach generations upcoming?
When you think about it, one of the things that you do as you grow older is you make more mistakes. So we have decades of mistakes that we can learn from. So the one thing that baby boomers should be doing is taking all these younger generations under their wings and giving them their advice, telling what they went through. Now, if you've got kids like mine, they don't always listen to you. They don't always believe what you're saying. But the more and more that you can help educate younger generations so they don't make the same mistakes that we made, that is just going to make this country stronger and stronger.
All right. Marc, let me ask you this. Your definition of an entrepreneur.
When you think about it, today is the best time in the history of the world to become an entrepreneur.
Why?
The reason being, when we were younger, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, you had to buy space, you had to open a store, you had to, go out and do all kinds of ways to reach people that were pretty tedious. The internet has created the opportunity for anyone with a great idea and not a lot of money to start a business. Whether you sell products on Amazon, or whether you sell your services over the internet, when we were growing up, our market was the town we lived in. Today, with the internet, your market is the world. That gives everyone a chance to really do something that they want to do. Historically, interestingly enough, going all the way back to the Romans, only 10% of the population were true entrepreneurs. But I think in today's world, because if you're going to become an entrepreneur, what are you going to take a chance? 20% of entrepreneurs fail in their first year. And 50% fail in the first 5 years.
There you go.
And
that's improved 50%. It used to be worse than that because it's not easy. It's not easy. And sometimes, you could think, God, I'll just go get a job. I haven't got any of these hassles. You get paid good money and all the rest of it, but you know what? It kills the flame within you.
Well, think about why do entrepreneurs fail? Well, 42% fail because they don't have a market for their services. You may think you've got the greatest thing since sliced bread, but nobody's going to buy it. That's one reason they fail. 29% fail because they don't have enough money. You think I'm going to open up a business, but you got to stand back and say, I got to have enough money to last 6 months if I don't have a sale. And 23% fail, and this is the one thing that our generation can teach other generations, is because they don't create teamwork. There's bad communications. Their team doesn't understand what they're doing. So, being an entrepreneur is tough. But I think in today's world, you get a better shot at it than you did 30, 40 years ago.
So all you've got to do is actually go to babyboomer.org and simple click on the thing, boom, like that. And everything's there. Do you have, what was I going to say? Like a newspaper, you have sit around in the boardroom discussions, perhaps feature stories and things you're going to do, or like a TV show. When we're producing shows like that, you sit around, you discuss a lot of things. Do you and the other three owners sit around and say, look, what are we missing? What do we need to bring onto the site? What are people asking for? Is there feedback? You can get feedback in, can't you? You've only got to email babyboomers.org. You listen, you read.
To give you an example, last week we had 510 departments. Now we have 516 departments. So we created 6 new departments last week based on the input that we got from our contributors and our customers.
Sounds like bloody Macy's, doesn't it? Another department, another floor. That's it though, right? www.babyboomer, one word, babyboomer.org. Remember .org. That's what's critical because it is a non-profit, right?
we're not making any money, so that's no profit to me.
All sorts of organizations and so on. So there we go. Well, mate, Mark, it's been very interesting, and I've learned, and I hope some of our viewers over the place. This will go out, of course, on YouTube and other channels, video-wise, and of course, an audio copy of the show, just as it is, goes to all the major popular podcast platforms like your Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio and so on, and Deezer. There's 11 of them, I think, out there. I get Spreaker to distribute, and they do a good job. So hopefully it's going to be around for some time, and let's get you some more viewers. You've got, what was the last count I think you had? A million odd or more, wasn't it? Visit
over the time, yes. So we welcome everyone.
Yeah.
Please come visit.
No age barrier, that's for sure. And
but what's interesting is when we built the site, we thought it was going to be baby boomers, but only 46% of our customer base are baby boomers. It's their kids and their grandkids that are coming to the site to try to figure them out.
Isn't that good? Indirectly, you're doing what you wanted to do,
Right, exactly.
That's very good. All right. Thank you, Mark Joseph. Ladies and gentlemen, Gramps Joseph. Mark Gramps Joseph, co-founder and CEO. Well, it's a .org, so is it a CEO or president? What is it?
We're all co-founders. That's what we do.
Doesn't matter, yeah. What's in a title, right? Thank you for being on the show. It's been very interesting, and I wish you well in the future, okay?
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.